Hello everyone, this is Hank. I'm back. Today I'm going to talk about, in the Canon cameras, how to temporarily switch to manual focus while you're in AF mode, which is autofocus mode. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell you about two limitations on using this function. First of all, you cannot use SERVO mode for it, so you got to choose one shot. Okay, so that's the first limitation. SERVO will not work. Okay, the second limitation is your lens have to have electronic linkage when you turn the focus ring. Electronic signal is being sent rather than the actual mechanical linkage. Now, luckily, most of the modern EF lenses and all of the RF lenses have electronic linkage. So this problem is not huge. It's only a problem if you have really old EF lenses that still use the mechanical linkage. Okay, you know that you have mechanical linkages when you turn the focus ring, the lens extend or retract. Okay, the electronic one, it doesn't do anything because it's just picks up the electrical signal. It doesn't physically move the lens. Okay, so with that, now I will access the menu. Okay. Strangely enough, this function by default is not turned on. So some of you may not even realize that this thing has something like this. Okay, so what you want to do is, at least for the R6 and the R5, you go to the magenta menu, number 4, and you look for an option called Lens Electronic MF. Okay, some other cameras may reside somewhere else. The key thing is that the lens electronic MF is the same everywhere. I know that the EOS RP, it doesn't even have a magenta menu, so you got to go to the red menu and find the lens electronic MF, as well as the manual focus picking option as well. Okay, so first of all, when you get it there, you press the set button to get in there in the submenu, and you have 4 choices. Actually, in terms of options, there's only 2, but there's 4 choices. The first one is the default, which is disabled. So you can't use MF when you're in AF mode. Okay. The first option I would call, even though it's on the second row, is one-shot enable. Okay, and the second option is one-shot enable magnify, and I will show you both too, and then we'll give you a recommendation on which one you should be setting. And then the fourth choice, like it allows you to disable this functionality altogether. So it create a separate, actually this is only one of 2 that it will give you. You know, somebody really wanted to turn this function off, which I highly recommend against. Okay, so we're going to choose one-shot enable first. Okay, when you are using this first option, what you may want to check is to go find the MF picking settings, and you make sure you turn it on, because in manual focus picking is really helpful. And you choose a picking is on, the level is too high or low. I don't think they make any difference, but high supposedly gives you better, more visible, you know, more bright. And you can change the color so that you can see good, right? So if I have a blue image, I don't want to change the color to blue, obviously, because you won't be able to see it, that sort of thing. Okay, so I can go back to the menu. And if your camera has it, you want to turn the focus guide on as well. Okay, some camera like the R only have focus guide but not the MF picking. The RP only have MF picking but no focus guide. This R6 has both. Okay, so I'm turning on both of them. Okay, so with that you are basically ready. But if, before we move on, one more potential gotcha. If you can't find or can't get this thing to work, one more thing you want to check is you go find an option as highlighted here, electronic 4x MF. You want to make sure that it is on, because that is a master switch. You set that to off for whatever reason, you will not get this function to work. Okay, so with that we can just press the shutter button halfway to go to shooting mode. Okay, so what you want to do is do the autofocus like normal, except that you press it and then you hold it, you don't let go. Okay, so I use a back button focus, so I'm pressing the AF on button. Okay, so I get that. All right, and now I turn the focus ring. So as soon as I turn the focus ring, it switches over to manual focus. You can see the upper left corner is flashing MF, telling you that you're temporarily now under manual focus. And you can see the effect of focus peaking. Everything turns blue where it is focused. And you have the focus guide as a box and something, right? So now if I turn it and totally out of focus, or not totally, but out of focus, the peaking is gone because nothing is really in focus within that box that we set. Okay? And you got 3 arrows telling you that you got to merge those 3 arrows together. So this is a classic manual focus, nothing different. But now you're in manual focus. And as long as you press the focus button down, and then you can focus, and you can see that it's turning blue. And when the focus guide turning green, I know that I'm in absolute focus in manual mode, manual focus mode. Okay? At this time, I can take the picture, or I can just let go and go back to autofocus mode, just like that. Okay, so that's the first option. Now, one thing, okay, on the AF method, okay, all of the AF method will work for this. But I highly recommend that you use the spot AF method because you already achieve autofocus and you want to double check with manual focus. So usually you want to choose a spot focus so that you can just zoom into that one spot to check. So that makes more sense, but you don't have to. Okay, so all AF method will work with this. Okay, so now, and also if you want to move that, you know how, right? You press this thing and then you use a joystick to move it. Okay, for example, if I move it there. Okay, so now my focus point is there. Okay, so now let's go back to the menu. Go back to Lens Electronic MF. And I would choose the second choice, which is One-Shot Enable Magnify. Okay? The key word is magnify. Choose that, press the shutter button halfway, get back. Okay, so now again I'm going to do the AF. hold it down, move the focus ring. So what happened now? What happened is like the keyword magnify, right? It used a magnifying glass. And the default is 5 times. Okay, so now you can change, turn the focus ring to get it to be in focus. Okay, now if 5 times is not clear enough, you can do 10 times, right? Canon allows you both. Now under my thumb, you see the button with the magnifying glass. You press that. Okay, then you get 10 times. 10 times you can see it a lot better to focus. There's no guide for you because the magnifying glass is your guide. Okay, so now what happened if I press the magnifying glass again? This is interesting here. Is because when I press this again, it toggle over to the first option. So if I choose a second option and I press the magnifying glass button, I can get to the first option. Okay, and I can toggle between the 3, 5 times, and 10 times, and the focus guide all day long. Okay, so this is the one that I recommend setting, the option 2, because you can get to option 1 without having to change the menu item. Okay, and another interesting thing, okay, so for example, if you have this mode here, 5 times or 10 times, and after you take a picture, it reverts to the first option anyway, but you can't focus anymore, right? Because you already take a picture. But at least it will show you that. Okay, with that, we are done. Hopefully this is clear enough for you. Oh, before we go, there's one limitation when you're using the second option here. Okay, but it has nothing to do with this function, but it's rather a limitation for the Canon cameras, at least mirrorless camera, is if you choose the AF method face plus tracking, okay, if you choose that, you cannot use a magnifying glass. Now, you never could. Anyway, even in manual mode, okay, manual focus mode, you cannot use the magnifying glass. So this functionality is the same. If you have that, okay, and you focus, okay, and you turn the focus ring, what happened is that it goes to the first mode, first option, because it won't allow you to use a magnifying glass. Now you can press the magnifying glass button all day, nothing's going to happen, so keep that in mind. Any other modes, you'll get the magnifying glass, except for the face plus tracking. Okay, with that, I would appreciate if you give me a like and or subscribe if you haven't. I had a similar video already, but I didn't talk about the cycling of the magnifying button, which is a pretty interesting feature that I didn't know exists before. So with that, I thank you very much. Have a good one.